Hello again, everybody. Josh Hoover here with Benefit Technology Resources. And we've been doing a series because of all the coronavirus and so many people having to work remotely. We've been doing a series with some different teammates around BTR to share their experiences and their stories about working remotely. And today we're going to go a little different. We've got Nikki Towley, Amanda Steubenvall, and Danielle Haynes, from our Ben Admin division, and they're going to share their experiences. So, Nikki, when you and I talked, you mentioned that you were a little hesitant to work remotely before you came to BTR. So, share your story.
Sure. I was just a little bit nervous because I had worked in an office with the same people for 5 years, and it kind of felt like family. I wasn't sure if I would miss that, the social interaction in person. And I wasn't sure if I could be productive working from home. But I mean, from day one when I started, I realized that all my concerns were for nothing, and I was definitely more productive working from home. I didn't miss getting ready. I didn't miss the commute. I still get the social interaction. I still feel like I have a really strong cultural, fit with my team. So all those concerns just kind of melted away, and I haven't really looked back.
So what's it been like? You mentioned kind of having a family atmosphere, getting to see people face to face, but when you're on webcams and calls, how has that been different for you?
I feel like I've still been able to develop those relationships, and we do get that FaceTime once a year, which is very valuable. We actually just wrapped that up, so that was a really good time. I think that the chat and the webcams and phone calls, we're in constant contact, and we're always productive, and it's not necessarily like wasting time. So I think I still get all of the social needs from a remote workplace.
Yeah, and I love your comment about our annual event. We just had that last week. Or I guess 2 weeks ago, we just beat the coronavirus pandemic in Florida. But it was funny. I was talking to a couple other teammates the first night we were there at dinner, and it was crazy loud because everybody was just having such a great time seeing each other, for that one time a year. So Amanda, kind of that transition. Amanda, do you remember the first time you and I met in person?
I do. You were actually the first person that I ever met at BTR at the airport.
Yeah, at the airport, prepping for one of those meetings about 3 years ago. Was it 3 years ago or 4?
4 years now.
4. So one of the things that Amanda does is you get to train and help prepare people for working remotely, from going from an office to that remote workforce. So what has that been like for you?
I think actually it's been a much smoother process than I think new hires might experience in other companies. I've been currently training Danielle, and a week before she started, she got a new hire email. She knew what her schedule was going to be like day one. She knew what we were going to be training about and what we were going to be talking about. And then when she started, it was getting her logged into all of her technology. With BTR, we do use a lot of different applications and different portals to keep us connected because we are 100% remote. So having that initial conversation with Danielle, having that interaction with her even before she started, I think has really made a difference in the way that we onboard, as opposed to companies where you're in a corporate office and you're trying to balance a new hire around a bunch of other people and teams.
So how does that work? What's give an example or a story of maybe where it's been a challenge to get somebody onboarded, or their experience, or where it's been really successful, because there's a lot that goes into that training process and that adaptation process.
So a challenge we had with another new hire is getting her connected with getting her laptop on time, because she wasn't going into a corporate office. So it had to be shipped to her, has to be signed for. Actually, the delivery service that we use, I won't name names, but they misplaced her laptop. So that is something that's a challenge, because if you're going into an office setting, all that technology is there for you, all the things that you need to start your day are there. But on the flip side, with Danielle, she's been able to get all of her items and her information ahead of time, and it was a seamless process to get her started day one.
Excellent. Well, Danielle, so your name has been mentioned a couple of times. Let's you've been here a whole 2 weeks, so we're going to just throw the spotlight on you. How has it been for you? What led to you wanting to transition to work remotely, and what's that experience been so far? Obviously, you've had a great mentor and teacher in that, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's been about 2 weeks now. And as Amanda said, I've been really lucky that my onboarding has been very seamless, more so than even with, working a job in an office. But this company in particular, or in this environment, working 100% remote, really drew me in because I'm actually a military spouse and we move every 2 years. And so having to restart our lives, having to move and find new friends, but not to mention a job, has been something that I've really struggled with. So this, environment provides that opportunity where I don't have to start all over again, and I can, stay with the same career and not have to start over and over again.
Yeah, we've got a lot of, I don't know a lot, but several military spouses here, and that's one of the reasons why they love it, just that flexibility. So, Danielle, name something that you thought was going to be a challenge for you before you started that may not have been as big a deal once you got into working remotely?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a big schedule person, so I was really nervous, and I still am having to find that balance, being that it's only 2 weeks. And I'm a workaholic, so setting that time of like, okay, I'm going to start working at this time and stop working at this time. And I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to kind of walk away from my computer, at that time and end up, sending emails at 10, 11 o'clock at night. And it's just been a balance, and so that was something I was really nervous about. But I've been really diligent about, all right, you start at 8 and you work till 5 and you don't work any longer, and unless need be. But so I was really worried about that, and it hasn't been an issue. And also setting boundaries with my family. My significant other and I had a conversation from the start of, just because I'm home doesn't mean the dishes are going to be done, laundry is going to be done, meals are going to be cooked. And so having that conversation ahead of time, I was a little nervous that those expectations would be there, and they weren't at all. And he was very understanding of like, I know you're working, it's just like you're, if you were at an office. So
hey, I'll tell you, my wife expects if I'm home, the dishes better be done, but she does all the cooking, I do most of the eating, so I can't really complain. So let's kind of open it up. We do have about 2 minutes left. Any other thoughts, Nikki, Amanda, Danielle, just from your experiences, what's worked well, what hasn't worked so well, that someone may not think about that we haven't already discussed?
Honestly, for myself on a personal level, like BTR and 100% remote work life has given me a lot of balance. I have 2 aging parents. One of them has an autoimmune disease. I have a husband that works an hour away from home, a toddler that's 2.5. I have a lot of responsibilities outside of work. So this environment gives me that flexibility and that balance that I need, where I can fit everything together. My personal life and my professional life are seamless. Yes, they do overlap, but I'm not fighting to try to do one over the other.
Yeah. Nikki, what about you with 2 kids? Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I've become a mother since I started working for BTR. I've had 2 kids, and I feel like it allows me the time, instead of, getting ready, rushing out the door and driving to work, I can eat breakfast with my kids, and we can kind of take our time, get out the door, and then I can come and focus on work. And I feel like as long as I stick to the hours, 8 to 5, I have my own separate workspace. It's actually surprisingly easy to draw those boundaries.
Yep. The boundaries, that was the hardest thing for me. It's like, I don't need to just go check that one email or respond to that one email and then sit there for 2 hours. So, well, Amanda, Danielle, Nikki, thank you so much for your time today. We do appreciate it. For those of you watching, if you have questions or comments, please comment on this, share the video. But also, if you have other questions or ideas that you want us to present or talk about, let us know. We'd be happy to do that. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.